Mirage, everyone stood up. It wasn't just Oscar, it was the entire roster. Either way, though, we are live now into the first map on Mirage. I'll be seeing VP start on the T side, where they really did struggle earlier on, just managing to lock themselves in 5 rounds, and the bulk of those were at the death of the half. And oh my goodness, the one tap is going to put down the bomb, and in a really bad position, the second frag comes in. As you say, aim is not an issue for Optic Gaming, and they have proved that with 2 very quick-fire kills. Now Taz has the difficult task of reclaiming the bomb and trying to force away the CTs. Meanwhile, Neo is doing some damage towards the shorts, going to force back a couple players. Neo now is teeing off onto the site, and somehow is still alive. Finally gets picked off from Rush, who will get his second kill of the round, and now in a 2v5. Lord, it's looking pretty horrendous.
Headshot's been the name of the game. Interesting to see like a double A ramp push. Not something you see very often on a CT pistol, and I think it really threw Virtus.Pro through a loop, their bomb getting dropped, and you see Optic just giving it up completely. No reason to stick around the bomb when Virtus.Pro can take their climb clearing angles with as much time as they're left on the clock. But Taz and Neo, the 2 most experienced players on the team, are now left in a 2v5 situation. And Taz is a Tech 9, and a couple of these players are actually one shot. The thing is that if they get the drop on anyone here, they're going to be able to most likely take a head off.
Exactly it, and that's one of the problems. Daps was so low that Neo is able to jump and just twist and turn his way into a kill. Taz now trying to go for that bomb plant. He may very well get caught out. Indeed he will. He goes down. Bomb will not get planted. Now it's on Neo. 1v4. A couple of these players just to pull it away. But, I mean, it's 4 players to find and frag. It's so unlikely Optic will get the first round on the board.
Yeah, no way Optic are going to blow that once they get that 1v4 situation. Bomb down, bomb dropped, and then 15 seconds left over. Oh, looks like we've got a pause called by Virtus.Pro, who are having a little bit of an issue. And yeah, so all we have to talk about is the pistol. So far, it's looking really good for Optic. Their aim is just on point. They're hitting all their first shots, which is a really great sign. All that can be undone, mind you, in the second round.
Of course, yeah.
So it's hard to take that pistol round and try to gather too much from it. Parsing that data doesn't mean too much. And you know, sometimes I think we see pistol rounds being very 50-50. Like almost anyone can win a pistol round. I remember once, like, I played against Virtus.Pro, or not Virtus.Pro. I played against iBuyPower in a tournament, and we played Mirage, and we lost. Or no, we played Inferno. We lost 16-2. But guess what? We won both pistols.
those 2 rounds, though, boys. It's all about the pistols.
Yeah.
We did see glimpses, you know, obviously we can't really discuss too much about this. I think Snacks had some issues, he dropped out. I think he's back in now, so hopefully we'll be good to jump live shortly. But we did see some of that aim on point, right? We saw those 1 taps in mid. I think it was Rush and Daps both picked themselves up like really quick fire frags. So there's no doubting these guys can stand toe-to-toe with VP, and it kind of was the teamwork that was letting them down somewhat in the previous best of 3.
True.
Plus the fact that Oscar and Zero Styko as well were all stepping up huge and pulling off crazy frags.
You know, I know a lot of people haven't seen much of the new Hellraisers. I personally had a lot of faith in them, considering after the roster changes, they just seem to have ironed out all their kinks, and they've got like so much more aim across the board now. But it looks like we're back in the game, and we're seeing a buy-up from Virtus.Pro, who were unable to get a plant, so this is almost expected. I'm sure Optic Gaming will assume head armor will be on the heads of Virtus.Pro members here, as it seems like they're set up in a similar setup to what they had on the pistol. And we didn't see that play out because they got crushed by a push down A ramp. So maybe something will go differently now.
Indeed it could. Mixwell, a guy that there's a lot of question marks over right now, whether he can step up to the performances that he's been pulling out online. And there is Neo. Stanislaw just walks into his crosshair and will be picked off very convincingly. Pasha with the Tech 9 close range makes short work of Mixwell. Taz with a 1 tap. And this round, horribly wrong for Optic Gaming. Just as you said before, winning the pistol round doesn't necessarily mean success. And VP are trying to prove that point. Rush has an M4, so we could do some serious damage. MP9 in the hands of Daps. And a couple of grenades to play with as well, but this is a rough ask. There's decent positions assumed, and Rush is going to get caught. 28 HP remaining. Although he didn't die, he is so close to death. And with 2 players in Palace and 1 connector, and the bomb planted for connector side, VP should be good. Well, it seems that Virtus.Pro are indeed going to be good to take this round. Now the question is, can Daps even save this MP9? It's not looking good, is it? The M4 is going to get picked up. Meanwhile, Daps is being aggressed on from Snacks. And there's the tap. He's going to go down. Nicely done by VP.
Yeah, huge conversion there, winning the second round. And it's just as we mentioned, it doesn't really mean much to have a dominant pistol round. It doesn't really even say much about your aim overall. I mean, sometimes it just comes down to hitting your first bullet, catching someone off guard, and they managed to do that. But Virtus.Pro turned that right around with an A split. And I think we see what would have happened on the pistol if not for a rush from Optic Gaming, or not from a push from Optic Gaming, which they didn't try to do on that second round. But the thing is, I think they should have went for that save. When it was a 2v4 situation, they should have been a lot less hesitant about going to save, and they dropped an M4 in the process, and I think that's a huge pickup.
Sure is. Unfortunately, though, it looks like VP weren't able to get their hands on it. I think the bomb exploded and took down a couple players with it.
Oh yeah, they didn't actually find that.
But still, it's a heavy investment, right? So that M4 is not going to be moving through from Optic Gaming. CZ close range, can't get it done. MP9 will prevail. And now that leaves Mixwell to try and fend off the onslaught with his M57, pardon me. It looks like maybe he can get a frag on Neo if he goes too aggressively into Kitchen, but other than that, this bomb is going to get planted, and VP looking in command. Two players going to be pushing towards the T-spawn.
Quite common to stack A site on anti-ecos on a force up, and you know the counter force here is warranted just because they did a lot of damage to Virtus.Pro. Virtus.Pro had 3 or even 4 alive near the end of that second round, so maybe a little bit surprising that they decided to armor up, because typically if you smell blood then and there's only a couple players alive, then you have the opportunity to not only like do economic damage, but if you win the round, turn it into a situation where you have a buy and they don't. So. But very typical to, once you lose the second round, force up, anticipating a double save, which you never have to, or you never want to deal with. Now Optic Gaming still sitting on 1 round, and Virtus.Pro managed to have a very, very clean anti-eco because they picked the right side.
That's exactly it, but Optic are going to retain the vast majority of those Kevlars, so effectively as a carbon copy of the last round, they are going to have another chance to try and break back and take some of these AKs away from VP. To Stanislaw with nothing, as he was killed in action in the previous round.
Now we've got a straight up default from Virtus.Pro, looking to go for mid control right off the bat. They know that they're most likely dealing with armored opponents here, so they're going to take it slow, play their advantages, and it seems like they're congregating towards A with a connector split on the menu.
Well, that deagle on short could do some serious damage if they're not careful. Nafly wielding it. He's going to be peeking towards connector, but Pasha instantly taps him, and Nafly has to scurry away, otherwise he will be a dead man. Meanwhile, connector controller's taken Nafly caught in the ladder. So awkward, but Pasha is going to finish off what he started beforehand. Now the stack from Optic is on the A site, and Mixwell is going to battle bravely for his frag, but well, the AKs are always going to reign out supreme, and indeed they will as VP take the 3-1 lead.
You know, when you play out an anti-eco, even if you go to the site that's stacked, you can go there if you take your time and clear angles meticulously. Like, even though Optic decided to stack A, if Virtus.Pro get mid-control first and don't take any damage there, and they want to come up connector really slowly, well, that's something they can do even if you have rifles. So the fact that you have 5 pistols on the site with armor doesn't mean a whole lot if Virtus.Pro are doing it right, and they did it right there. And over the course of these 3 rounds, they have saved up quite a bank, and now have an op on snacks as well. Picking one up on the T side has just been so good at this tournament with this op, and maybe has a chance to redeem himself on Mirage.
And unfortunately for Optic, they weren't able to get themselves an AWP. You can see the smoke actually thrown in originally to block the vision of any AWP peeking out a window. VP have managed to take a bit of mid-control. This time, 3 players in positions to try and fend this off. In actual fact, it could be 4, as Daps is going to be coming up through short.
A severe disadvantage right now. No smokes at all. Or, well, 1 smoke on Nafly, but just 4 flashes in total for Optic. A single kit on Daps.
No HEs, no incendiaries.
No.
So once that smoke has been used, VP will have a pretty clear way into the site. Snacks with the AWP. He'll be peeking out from Palace, seeing if he can catch someone around stairs or jungle. Nice opening pick from Rush. That's going to force the green light to be pressed, and Stanislaw comes in with a frag as well. Snacks needs to land this shot. Can't get it, but Pasha from behind will take down Stanislaw, looking for the second frag, but Mixwell's there. Stands up tall, 2-on-3 now. Oh, Snacks so close to landing that shot, but didn't connect it. 35 seconds left, and Snacks is going to get smoked out, and that's significant. That will leave Bialy by himself, and now he has to wait until that smoke clears. He's effectively in the 1 versus 3 for the next few seconds. And this is valuable time as well, Wonders. They've only got 22 seconds left. They're going to have to make a move onto this site.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to get a plant as well without connector or CT control, but with this smoke, it might make a difference. No one's going to walk upstairs right now, so it looks like they'll let the bomb go down, and Snacks might have to post up on CT here. 10 seconds left, and he finds the first frag.
Gonna go in for the second as well, and he does land it. 5 seconds left. He's gonna have to land this frag right now, and he does with 3 seconds remaining. Snacks clutches it, a 1v2. And a beautiful flick, 4-1 for VP now.
You know, amazing frag from Snacks, but a huge misplay on the part of Optic, who, if they had a really good beat on the time there, would have known there was just no way to get a plant. In fact, their positions were perfect for letting the bomb go down and then retaking immediately, right? They had 1 person in connector, and they had 2 people in CT. That's the perfect amount of pressure to put on A site versus a team that doesn't have 2 smokes. So the fact that they dropped that round in the 3v2 is really bad for them, and I'm sure it's going to affect them morally, or their morale, excuse me.
Oh, for sure, and economically as well.
Yeah.
Just Stanislaw with Kevlar, CZ, P250, 5.7, really not a great deal. A bargain bucket of weapons. VP, on the other hand, have a solid buy again, as you'd expect. Not going in for any SMGs, just sticking with the AKs. Stanislaw's been completely flashed, still gets the kill somehow, as Nafly is there, and they get a second. That is 2 weapons across now to the CTs. It's got a whole lot worse. Rush with the CZ is going to get this damage done, and Taz has been dropped solo. He's going to bounce back with 2 frags, but it all falls to Neo. 1v3. None of the players have Kevlar, and now this is very doable for Neo. Second frag comes in. He's being tagged from Connector. Going to be tossing across the Molotov. And then finishes off Mixwell. No, he doesn't. Mixwell's on 15 HP now. 1 bullet will seal it up, but Neo gets the 1v3 clutch.
Oh my gosh. It's versus an anti-eco, or it's on an anti-eco, but Neo getting that 1v3 is enormous. Optic Gaming should not have dropped that round. They really just had to play passive spots, completely give up everything, and then come in when he had to plant. Again, a situation where if you're the only man at A and there are people at every choke point on the site, there is no good plant for you. It's one of the only sites in the game where you can't have a completely safe spot, where you can just defend, go to a nice, safe after plant spot and defend from. You have to have control of something, and they failed to play that advantage, and it cost them.
Taking the positives out of that round, though, Optic did take down VP with effectively pistols and 1 Kevlar.
True.
To a 1v2. So maybe looking at that silver lining, but as you say, in the 3v1, they'll be bitterly disappointed they didn't get that clutched out. Either way, Pasha comes in, and just when you thought maybe Optic were able to get these weapons to work for them, they've lost mid control, and that's suddenly becoming B control as well. Mixwell's gonna have to step up and deliver, and he can't get it done, just the 1 frag. Now Rush can throw the incendiary. It's going to be too late. The bomb will get planted regardless. 3-on-1. They know where he is from the trajectory of the incendiary as well. And there is Snacks. Just finishes things off nicely for VP. Optic Gaming with a full-on buy, investing a lot into that round, yet completely denied.
Optic Gaming have a real problem now because this is a round where Virtus.Pro decided to go to the other site and they made it work in spectacular fashion, right? So now that Optic see that Virtus.Pro take A whenever they want to, they get mid control and connector split whenever they want to, but not only that, they can hit you up with a B split right out the gate and it's gonna work well. So in terms of options, Virtus.Pro have all of them. This is when they wanna start faking to keep reinventing themselves, and this is where it becomes so hard and so stressful for Optic because they've gotta continually save and figure out new things to do, and then not blow huge advantages like they have in the past. A lot of this stuff will bog down on them mentally.
The thing is as well, VP's weakness earlier on Mirage was their T side. Their CT side actually wasn't too bad. So
they may have done some talking.
That's almost certain. Yeah. I'm sure there were some harsh words exchanged. They would not have been happy with that 2-0 defeat against Hellraisers. And it looks like Optic Gaming, unfortunately, are going to be the victims of this avenging wrath from VP. Neo next up to pick himself up a kill. Rush, the only player that's answered back so far. Snacks on 14 HP, but you don't think Optic can realistically get anything from this round, especially as Pasha just executes Rush with the 1-tap, leaving Stanislaw in B-apps. Just a flashbang to bounce out with, and he's been spotted. Only a matter of time now before he is a dead man. And there we go, 7-1 to VP.
So moving into this round, Optic Gaming have to consider what are Virtus.Pro going to do. And the one recurring theme, even though Virtus.Pro have had their way at both sites now on anti-ecos and rifle rounds, connector splits and cat splits, the thing that they have in common is that they've always favored mid right out the gate. So maybe Optic Gaming want to get in their face a little bit and show them the disrespect that they show them on the pistol. That's the only round they won, and it was a round where they pushed. So if if they maybe play too passively and forfeit too much control, I think that's when they feel a little bit like they just allow the pincer to come onto them, and Virtus.Pro are able to impose their will.
And it's good that you say that, Londers, because in the interview they almost said that themselves. They said the aggressive style that we play could be a counteraction to VP style. They're not used to players constantly pushing them. They're not used to this very dynamic approach. And as you say, they've just been kind of retracting into their shells and playing very passively. Maybe aggression is the best way right now for Optic Gaming.
Yeah. Now they know they shouldn't play scared, but it's almost a subconscious thing sometimes. You tell yourself not to be scared, but if you're scared, there's almost nothing you can do. Ooh.
Oh, he still landed the AWP shot as well, even while he's flashed. I think it legged Dabs. Yeah, Snacks gets himself the assist and is hungry for more. Next kill comes his way. Bjarly's there now. Russian Stanislaw, who did push aggressively, trying to get around the back of the terrorists, but you have to have players still alive on B for that to be an effective strat. Otherwise, you just get smashed as soon as you get to the site.
Optic tried to be a little bit too reserved about throwing out smokes to control upper B, and a very well-timed timeout for Optic Gaming. It makes a lot of sense right now. They have a lot to talk about. They're moving into next round with full loss bonus, but on CT side, sometimes that's not enough. You know, you can't put together a scrappy buy and expect to win, especially not on a big map like Mirage that requires so much utility. But we see how Virtus.Pro circumvented the use of utility there by getting up B with a quick walk-up, and then we're relying on just getting a fast entry so that Optic Gaming don't even have time to use their resources. They basically, you know, nullified all the CT advantages that Optic had there with their economy, and instead of, you know, waiting around for them to throw smokes, they decided, let's get in their face really quickly so they only have time to throw 1 or 2 grenades, and then we'll hit a site quickly like we're so good at.
Yeah, you saw the pop flash attempt, but at that point, VP were already set in place.
Yeah.
The pop flash isn't going to stop 2 aggresses, and very comfortable kills in the end. So 1 to 8, timeout called. Looking at Optic's economy, about $4,000. Mixwell has 3.4K, so they have a decision to make here. They could go for a buy, but it would not be a good one at all.
Yeah. See, that was a situation where I'm thinking, when I watched Dignitas play that upper B area and Tempo Storm were trying to abuse it versus them, they really spent a lot of resources just controlling it as long as possible. And they knew players were behind the smoke, but they didn't really like flash for themselves like Daps just did. You know, the flash ended up working out really well, but BP won that duel because they had the buddy system. You know, the op shot landed, but there was another player there to guarantee that kill. Whereas Daps is pop flashing for himself with no one there to peek with him. And that would have guaranteed a trade. And that would have been integral, especially considering he has a man on B site who has no other job at that moment. Then, you know, maybe you want to use him to try to play the team game and put a little bit more emphasis on that.
That's a really good point that you raised. There hasn't been really any avenging frags from Optic Gaming. You know, it's been 1-for-1 trades here and there, which will favor the terrorists. It will favor VP, not just in the sense they're playing the T side, but Optic Gaming haven't really rummaged together that many big buys either. So you need to be taking those AKs away as soon as possible. But we are live back into the game now as Optic Gaming expected, don't go for the buy. They know it would have put them in really bad shape. They will have a solid buy next round. But they have to start winning rounds at some point, Launders. Like, saving at this point just isn't good enough anymore.
No, it's hell having to come up with new eco rounds over and over again as a team beats down on you with your economy.
A helpless feeling for Optic, but the timeout really called for the next round when they are going to have the assault rifles in play. Likely an AWP as well for Mixwell, who, to be fair, hasn't really done a great deal with it.
Yeah.
Hasn't been setting the world on fire for me personally.
Considering the rounds have been in a row, you can like have that and see how many have been rifles. And even worse, VP, because they had the conversion on the second round, had 3 rounds in a row where Optic had no money for an op. So maybe there was only 2 opportunities in total for Mixwell to pick one up. But either way, those you gotta seize those opportunities. That's for sure.
Absolutely, because the saves are for that moment. They're for the moments when you get the AWPs.
Right.
As expected, this round is going to be slipping away from Optic Gaming. It was ultimately just a half buy, allowing them a buy in the next round. Daps again in a familiar situation in Kitchen, and it's going to be the same result. Not too much to talk about here. VP are just, I mean, they're ruffle stomping at this point.
In a game versus professionals, I mean, it seriously is one where it comes down to who makes less mistakes, and you know, it isn't really an excuse to look at the rounds and say, okay, well, you know, Optic Gaming had 2 chances and they didn't come through with that. Like, yeah, maybe you know, there was a timing strike situation that happened there that's just quite unfortunate, but ultimately it comes down to those moments, and playing extremely carefully is like all Optic can really do. And once again, Virtus.Pro just setting up in their default. They've used this on anti-ecos. They've used this versus rifle rounds, and it's been a huge problem. But Mixwell taking this first contact at mid might be a good adjustment for them to allow them to have some presence.
Yeah, more of that aggressive style that we were talking about before. Maybe taking those quick peeks. A fairly safe position is the way to go. They've got 2 players in mid. Stanislaw's also there in connector. Holding off the push for now.
It's also good just to mention they're being much more liberal with their grenades. You know, they didn't even get the chance to throw them on that previous round and got abused for it. So they're not going to give them that opening kill in the first 30, 40 seconds, and I think that's going to change up Virtus.Pro's game, maybe push them into Mixwell.
Well, fair enough if they have highlighted that as a weakness, to be a bit more liberal with the grenade usage, stop the pushes from coming in from VP. They still have plenty to play with as well. They've got 4 incendiaries, they've got themselves a couple of smokes, plenty of flashbangs. The only downside is Daps is down at just 20 HP. They line up for Mixwell. He is going to get the 1 kill, but traded out instantly afterwards. So Pasha almost playing bait there, but definitely worthwhile. And Daps, the aforementioned 20 health, is one of the last 3 remaining players for Optic. 33 seconds left, and here comes the push. The bomb is going to be coming through connector. Rush on the CT boxes has Nafly just behind him. When he's getting hammered down by grenades. The smoke out there as well is not going to stop him from peeking. And he's not going to get that trade-off. And again, there's no avenging frag. And Nafly comes in, finally picks up his man up. You know, maybe peeking a bit too soon afterwards. But Espiali straight through the boxes into the face. And the next frag comes in. And the pause just simply hasn't worked. VP, once again, just rush on through to the site.
Yeah, they haven't had an answer to deal with that connector split. Mixwell going 1 for 1 is not a favorable trade at all. Virtus.Pro dealt with them really, really well. I think they even had a flash in place to blind cap perfectly, and that flash missed slightly. Mixwell stood his ground and went and traded out, and was traded out by Snack. So, you know, Virtus.Pro take that fight any day. They'll go 4v4. That's really, really good on a big map to make it 4v4 because spreading out the CTs makes it even harder to trade and also allows no one to play with each other without leaving something else really exploitable.
Absolutely, and it was an AWP for an AK that was traded as well, and a player in mid.
Right.
So there's so many layers to how good that trade was for VP.
That's a rook for a queen.
Indeed it is. So now you have Pasha in mid. The rest of VP are going to be moving their way through towards the A side, stacking 2 players ramp 2 Palace. And again, the worrying thing for Optic Gaming is they are a bit sparse when it comes to grenades. Rush is going to be the lone defender for now because Stanislaw is smoked off. He's going to be relocating onto the stairs, but he cannot see a single thing. So if this charge comes through right now, it's going to be rough for Rush, and he's going to get traded out instantly. He had a FAMAS only. Down he goes. Pasha from behind catches Mixwell as he tries to rotate himself through connector to help out Stanislaw, who now has the very unfortunate task of trying to hold off 3, make that 4 players by himself. Now that Nafly's moved into CT boxes, and it's going to allow him to pull himself back. Double kill for Nafly. Daps is in as well. This is a real good chance for Optic Gaming, but it's being taken away. Nafly gets double peeked from Bialy and Neo, and he falls down as well. And 11-1 now, the score. Optic, are they even going to get a second round on their CT side?
So close, every single time, and with a man disadvantage, or Virtus.Pro, or Optic bringing it so close, and then Virtus.Pro always just arcing it out at the end. And it's this these 2v2s and 1vx situations that are really haunting Optic Gaming at this moment. You know, they almost had a moment there where their individual plays were stepping up. Nafly getting the 2 kills in CT and then staying alive was really great. But again, like once Daps gets that kill, Nafly gets 2, then they really need to count their blessings and just stop peeking, because at that moment they have connector control, they have CT control again. That's the perfect moment to play retake on A. You know, they could opt to do that 5v5, but especially in that 2v2, they could have kept spots, stayed alive, and put a lot of pressure on Virtus.Pro to try to make a move themselves. Instead, they played right into their hand and peeked.
And once again, you look at Optic Gaming's weaponry, and it makes for sad reading.
Yeah.
3 FAMASes, P90, M4.
Yeah, we're at that moment where, you know, you look at the rounds that you've won, the 1 round, the pistol round that you've won, and see that it's not been money that's the problem for you, right? You know, money doesn't solve this problem. It's more about teamwork right now, and maybe a bit of hitting shots, but trading and spacing that Optic can't seem to get a good grasp on. But good on Virtus.Pro for exploiting them over and over again.
Aggressive push up mid, desperation really. When you have a lack of grenades, you have to go looking for the information because you can't afford to stop a push. Stanislaw at least will stand tall and train out for Neo, but goes peeking, and surely there has to be half a mind that Snacks could be there. He's been in B-apps quite a few times already. And dry peeking an AWP is never a good idea. Snacks does spot the player darting across in kitchen. That's Daps with his P90. The last flash has just been expended. 25 seconds. Bomb will go down soon on the B site.
Wow. No.
Looks like a save.
Yeah, this is not even an easy save. You know what? Rush shouldn't have run away. Or excuse, I think it was Daps. He shouldn't have just ran away because that's going to tip off Virtus.Pro into trying to chase early. We see Pasha's already taking the lead right now. Once he spots players and sees that they're saving, he's going to try to take as many fights as possible. I guess they're a little bit worried about... I mean, I feel like they should just leave the site and go pressure them immediately because the deaths right now, oh, it would be so bad for Optic Gaming, who have 3 people on the A site, and now we have Virtus.Pro starting to move out, but it looks like they might be able to hang on to these guns, which is huge. And again, like, Virtus.Pro just have so much money. It doesn't matter if they die. And look, these kills, oh man. You know, if you lose all the guns when you went to save, even though you had like a 10, maybe 5% chance of winning that retake, you might as well have gone for it, right? So not dying on those exits was really important for Optic, who now just have another horrible buy. Daps, I think hitting auto buy immediately. And I think it's, you know, at this point where you just have to buy every round because it doesn't matter if you don't get the 2-3 rounds at minimum, you can't win. You rely so much on the pistol, and it's just such a big mental obstacle that you have to go through. And wow, this walk up mid, very interesting.
Only a 4 kill spread on the entirety of VP shows that everybody this time around is doing their job. Look at Pasha though, he just gets a complete free journey into jungle. And no one's even looking at jungle or connector side.
Unreal.
Surely you have to assume that someone's going to be pushing up there. At least Optic Gaming have got themselves 3 kills back, so maybe there's a glimmer of hope into this round. But Pasha now, because he was able to push through jungle, can come around the back of Kitchen. His teammate has been put down, it's Taz, and the bomb in doing so is out on short. Mixwell going to be looking back onto the B site. He's been spotted, but will get the kill, and Optic Gaming finally have doubled their digits to 2.
Oh, it was really cool watching Virtus.Pro on that recon mission up mid, just walking up in the connector, splitting up on a cat, and then getting someone in window, and then finding the opening kill as well. But somehow Optic managed to get the better of them in duels, and I guess they just went on full alert once they saw that someone had breached the security of connector and gotten all the way up into the site. But will it be enough? Is it too late? I mean, I have to say it's got to be too late. You know, I want to make the cast exciting, and always vie for the hope that Optic might come back into this, but it's not looking good.
No, it really isn't. Best case scenario, 3 rounds on CT side, I mean, it's not good enough. There are so many boxes that you have to tick to even get close to coming back into this game if you are on Optic. VP, you better believe, we're going to do everything they can to stop that from happening. Now Fly from CT boxes, throws a flash in, just delaying the inevitable, and again, VP have complete control over jungle, so much so that Neo has just walked his way around the back and shoots Nafly up the backside. And there's got to be a couple of head-scratching moments here. Now Stanislaw's going to get the drop on a couple of players. There's the first, lining up for him. The FAMAS comes in, double spray down for him, and a third as well. Mixwell in as well, so again, strange enough, VP get the control over jungle, but end up conceding the round. They will be still sat in a very pretty position at 12-3.
Wow. You know, it's really interesting. It's like these rounds of Virtus.Pro seem to have the best opportunity in the 5v5 with all the map control, end up losing those rounds, you know, whereas like the rounds where they're a little bit more allowed, a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more forceful, they end up winning convincingly. But the rounds where they try to be sneaky, it doesn't work out so well. And yeah, it really did seem like Virtus.Pro should have won that round for sure. Stanislaw made a key play though, pushing through A ramp. That's the only thing that allowed them to stay in that, because without that piece of information, all of your A site spots are compromised. You have to worry about Palace, you have to worry about A ramp. But if you know that no one's coming up A ramp, then you can just focus your attention towards CT, towards jungle, and it changes the game for you as a CT.
Well, here we go. We're going to be jumping right into the next half. No pause, no break. Right back into the action. Optic Gaming. Quite simply put, Launders, win pistol or lose the game.
Yeah.
There's nothing else
win
to really add to that.
or F10.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Of course, it's the first map, so they're going to have another chance on Inferno, but the way they've been performing so far on this map, I don't hold my breath for that whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see if they can at least get this pistol and try and bring this back into a respectable scoreline. Bjarly spots multitude of players heading his way. Taz gets insta-dinked and has to hope for the best here. Neo was coming through the hole, so he couldn't escape, and in doing so, Stanislaw comes through with the Tech 9. 2 kills for him. And he did highlight before he went live that he is a pistol player. He is an absolute god when it comes to pistol plays. And there you go, 2 frags for him. Double headshot. Bomb planted. VP have nothing other than a decoy, which is as good as nothing really in this situation. Dapp's close range. Snacks with a double frag of his own. Puts this round back in the hands of VP. Mixwell may have something to say about that, though, from Connector side. And Rush is still on the firebox. It's such a difficult position to draw out when you don't have grenades. Spots the first player, going to be trying to jump shot. It's going to get picked off from Pasha. The bomb, however, is planted for Mixwell. How are his headshots? The first one has connected. Now he's going to just have to play the time. Pasha does have a defuse kit's going to be chasing him down. Mixwell down to 20 HP. The next bullet will finish this round. And, well, they're just whiffing every single shot here. But he's managed to chunk down enough time to get Optic gaming this second pistol round.
Yeah, that's a round that Mixwell will take. You know, he did his part too, getting a couple nice one-taps and sealing up that round. Optic Gaming decided to just run up a ramp, take it quickly, get window control, and honestly, they should have won the round a lot earlier. Snacks got a couple of kills that I feel like Optic Gaming won't be happy about, or won't feel like are forgivable.
Triple scouts.
3 scouts, wow.
Hello.
And that just, you know, that just exemplifies. That just shows how many long lanes on Mirage that there are, where you can just tee off on people. And I like that top mid smoke. It's attracted so much attention away from A site. It's a cool caveat to just a regular A hit.
And it's like a bait smoke, really. It keeps quite a few of these CT players interested in mid, while the rest of the terrorists are forcing their way onto the site. But just keep an eye on Pasha, because he is slowly but surely snaking his way through the T spawn. He just needs his team to hold on, so this can be an effective flank. Neo's going to be doing just that. Meanwhile, Snacks has came in with the scout. Misses his chance, going to be throwing the HE over afterwards. Lands in the face of Mixwell. And now Neo has landed himself a shot. They're just still trying to bide their time and buy a bit of space for Pasha to push in. He's going to be coming from Palace.
3 scouts.
Yes, all 3 scouts are still in play. Pasha going to be coming down, and he gets spotted. He did see the gun barrel, and that kind of attracted him to check firebox again. That cost him his life, but now with 2 scouts, only Snacks lands a ridiculous shot partially through the toll booth. He's not going to be able to rinse and repeat, and Neo can't get it done either. An entertaining round nonetheless, but VP have conceded their 5th.
Yeah, absolutely. Optic do it not so cleanly. I mean, they're going to be able to get all the rebuys that they need to. I think they realize that this is a farm round, so they're going to try to channel all of the kills into Nafly. I hope they use him to scout just to see how much damage he can do. Rush as well is going to pick up a Mac-10. It's a really great gun because it only costs 1,050, and you know, upgrading is no problem. So and if you die, you just give up a Mac-10. So
yep,
not much to be lost.
Which against Kevlar is not too special.
Yeah.
There's Nafly off on the scouting mission. Will find himself at least one enemy. There's the other Mac-10 that has now been claimed for the CTs, but instantly taken away again. Neo, last remaining P250 wielding CT, not going to get it done. VP have lost the 6th round, but they've still got such a huge round buffer, and here comes a buy.
Yeah, so this will be the most telling point. Obviously, Optic winning that pistol means that they are still in this, but their best route to this comeback is winning all these rounds in succession. If they lose this round and it goes to 13, I feel like in terms of color coding, the score at the top, when you get to 13, that should turn yellow, and then when you get to 14, it should turn red, because those are the critical rounds where almost every single moment is going to be a 2-for-1 if the other team wins it. And Optic, with that being said, needs to win these rounds in succession so that they can get their own 2-for-1s. That's their fastest and best route to tying this game up and coming back from such a huge deficit.
So Snacks opting to go for a scout instead of the M4. Could definitely see this working. We did see a pretty sick shot from him in that attempt at a retake just a couple rounds previously. Slow, steady round from Optic. Not going for any aggression just yet. Again, filtering their way over towards the A side, which is where Bjarli is waiting in shadow with his M4. That first kill is pretty massive, though. That puts down Neo. And much like what we saw when VP were aggressing, picking off Mixwell in the exact same position, it really does fan out the CTs. That's a great answer, though, from Pasha. Bjarli still in shadow. He hasn't been mollied out just yet. He is very, very potent in this position, and finally the only comes down. 1 kill for him. He was nearly good for 2. Stanislaus being tagged up heavily. Double kill for him, but that's a beautiful flashbang. Pasha's going to make the most of it. First kill for him, but now Snacks did miss a couple of shots. He was asking quite a lot. Grenade lands on the head of Nafly. That is serious damage inflicted to him.
Now, see, this is exactly how the 2v2 should have been played out on Optic Gaming side. They give up the site. They have made presence at CT and Connector, so now they can bring 2 new spots in and have Optic Gaming watching the spots where they once were, and instead take brand new afterplant or retake positions, and we have huge.
What? He didn't even get the bomb planted either. There's 10 seconds left. This forces Mixwell to go across to the side, and he gets picked off from Snacks. That wall bang is filthy.
I'm not sure that you'll get this, but Snacks' scope game has been mouthwash.
Mouthwash?
I'm not sure if you have that brand.
What?
It was a great line. I gotta pat myself on the back for that one.
This is disgusting. Nailed him in the head through the boxes. Now that is a tilt moment and a half.
Yeah, that's.
You're like, it's the 2 on 2.
Definitely.
2 on 2 boys. They got a scout. I just got wrecked through a box.
Yeah, a headshot through the box. I mean, you know, just makes you wish you planted in a different spot, just slightly off angle, but you really don't expect that. But we saw how much the rotates benefited them. You know, Snacks took a couple of shots from CT and then moved out to Connector. And then we had Pasha go to A ramp. So that made it seem like they were both in the same spots, but they weren't.
It's so ridiculous. I was kind of stunned when I saw it land. You just don't expect to see that happen. Taz will brave it through the fire. Is he going to get rewarded with a second kill? Not just yet, but it did do quite a bit of damage to Stanislaw, who just charges through onto the side. Double kill for him. And get picked off. Here's another retake. Going to come good for VP. Optic Gaming. Pretty standard positions, though.
Yeah, I think they're just going to hang out while the big flank is on its way. And Taz doesn't want to really run up right now. Bialy, though, opens up this round. Rush now in a 1v3. And he's got to find a kill and push for information because letting 3 players converge on him is going to be too much. And he finds the first one. He gets the second one. He can't get the third. Taz takes him down. And that was close, but the big flank was what seals it up. That'll always guarantee you the round.
Yeah. Really nice try, though, from Rush.
Yeah, really good effort.
Props, because in the 1v3 and you're stuck in that corner, like you have no wiggle room at all.
Yeah.
So nice try, but too little, too late.
Yeah, their back has been against the wall too many times, and we see Virtus.Pro not allowing the comeback to happen. Securing 2 rounds so far on CT side. And Optic Gaming have just a sizable disadvantage even going into this round. Have decided to get a couple of AKs and utility on the rest of the remaining players, and it looks like a full A hit is on the docket.
That ass, though. Random third person for the win. Bialy. I feel like we just witnessed him move into a position that could get him a bunch of kills, but no, he gets headshotted instantly. I was just keeping an eye on that charge coming through there from ramp. The smokes landed and then the aggression right after it. Flashbang out from Taz. Pasha with a second Mag 7 kill. The bomb's on the site. It's going to get planted now from Mixwell. Picks up the M4 as well, but there are Snacks. And just when you think that Optic Gaming have got some level playing field in their advantage, suddenly they're just losing players. Flashbang over. In fact, it's not a flash, it's a smoke instead. Rush, gonna try and spray down these players. Neo gets tagged heavily, but is there to get himself the kill. And VP now will have themselves 9 map points.
Another retake going their way. They've just been so consistent on this, and they're able to seal up match point. That's really rough for Optic, who there isn't much to say about how well they played in this game. You know, there are lopsided score lines where in the rounds that were lost, they came so close and there was so much to say about the team that's losing them. But in this game, Virtus.Pro have shown dominance, whether it been in a slow default or something explosive, or you know, their T and CT side. It seems like Optic are just getting outclassed in this moment, and once again have to go in for just even worse by downgrading Galil's, or downgrading AKs for Galil's this time.
Also looking like a completely reinvigorated team than the one that we saw play against Hellraisers. I mean, fair enough, Hellraisers are a much more difficult opponent than Optic Gaming are, but it's the basics that are letting VP down time after time. Double up setup now against double Galil's, and that's pretty much it. Just Tech 9s accompany the 2 rifles. Neo with a cheeky frag through the smoke. Taz looking for his second. Will get punished. Pasha actually won't get that kill. Bialy takes it from right underneath him, but he's going to make amends with the second shot that rings out, takes down Daps, and the 16-6 first map. It was quick. It was over fast, and Optic Gaming now have to try and get themselves back into